Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we are diving into some seriously powerful source material. We're going to break down 12 habits you absolutely must build in your 20s. And honestly, this stuff might completely reshape how you view what is arguably the most foundational decade of your life. So, right out of the gate, the text confronts what it calls a pretty dangerous lie. You know the one. This idea that your 20s are just for partying, experimenting, and kind of just figuring it all out later. But the truth, it's way more impactful than that. The habits you're building right now, they don't just stay in your 20s. They literally echo for decades. We're talking about habits that will either become your ultimate superpower or, frankly, your silent downfall.
There's this fantastic quote from the text, building a foundation brick by brick. I absolutely love that imagery because honestly, the urgency here is real. A lot of people just don't think that far ahead, right? They get caught up in short-term pleasures. But the way you spend your days right now, the specific choices you are making today, these are the literal building blocks for the person you'll be at 35, 40, or 50. It really comes down to this. You're either going to be reaping the incredible rewards of your discipline later on or carrying a really heavy weight of regret.
To make this highly actionable, we've organized the source's 12 habits into these core pillars: the defining decade, mastering daily actions, fortifying systems, inner strength, and finally, the compound effect. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the defining decade, a unique opportunity.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is that your 20s are not a waiting room for real life. They are real life. And the text makes it really clear that this isn't meant to freak you out. It's actually to show you just how much power you have in your hands right now. You do not need to have everything perfectly figured out. What you do need to do is start investing in yourself today. That way, you get to reap the kind of compound interest that time alone just cannot beat. Moving on to Section 2, mastering your daily actions. Small habits, big results. The source identifies 4 essential daily habits to conquer first. Wake up consistently, learn one new thing, journal daily, and stop escaping into your phone. I mean, think about the stark contrast there. On one hand, you have the chaotic loop of constant doom scrolling, and on the other, the powerful momentum of a consistent morning routine. When you wake up at the exact same hour every day, you gain real mental clarity. You stop chasing the clock, and you actually start leading your day. Honestly, those morning routines are the silent engine behind almost every success story out there.
You might notice a recurring theme here, and it's the number 1. First, commit to learning just one new idea or insight, or even just one new piece of information every single day. You don't have to read a whole book a week. Just one little insight stacks up over time. It sharpens your problem solving and keeps you ahead of the curve. And second, enforce a strict rule. Absolutely no phone for the first hour of your day. Every single pointless notification is literally stealing your focus. Protect that first hour, and you protect your mind. Then we have journaling, which the source text radically reframes. It defines a journal not just as some diary for emotional venting, but as a literal weapon for mental clarity and self-reflection. When life feels totally out of control, dumping out all those thoughts spinning in circles inside your head, that becomes your anchor. It's kind of like having a guided conversation with your future self, which really helps you understand your own patterns and track your progress over time. Okay, Section 3, fortifying body, wealth, and systems. Vehicles for the future. So here are the next 4 habits we're looking at. Move your body, manage your money, read expanding books, and build systems over goals. The text points out that reading stuff like biographies, philosophy, or psychology completely stretches your worldview. It gives you access to minds far beyond your own, making you way more strategic and empathetic. And on the physical side, moving your body actually unlocks mental energy. Listen, you don't need to become a marathon runner. Just go for walks, stretch a bit, ride a bike. Your future self is absolutely going to thank you for taking care of your vehicle today before it breaks down and forces you to pay attention. Now, let's look at how this material approaches wealth, because it's pretty interesting. 3 simple steps: track your spending, save a percentage, and learn investing. The source completely reframes budgeting here. I know, budgeting sounds boring, right? But it's actually the ultimate tool for future freedom, because financial freedom doesn't come from how much money you make, it comes from how well you manage what you already have. Trust me, your 30s will seriously thank you for locking in these money habits early on. This part highlights the vital difference between goals and systems. Like, if you just have a super vague goal like, I want to be successful, well, that really only gives you a direction. But systems, actually defining exactly what habits support that vision, And what you need to do weekly, daily, or even hourly, that is what actually delivers results. The text strongly urges us to focus on the process. If you adjust the process as you grow, the outcome is just going to naturally follow.
All right, section 4, cultivating true inner strength, protecting your peace. Let's actually slow down the pace just a little bit here because these next habits are deeply internal. The practices are protect your energy, be okay alone, keep your word to yourself, and practice gratitude. Now, protecting your energy means setting some really strict boundaries against people who constantly bring drama, negativity, or chaos into your life. We all know you become like the people you spend the most time with. And practicing gratitude, that is completely transformative. The source notes how gratitude shifts your perspective from seeing endless obstacles everywhere to spotting hidden opportunities. It turns what we have into enough and enough into more.
Which brings us to one of the most overlooked habits of your 20s, for sure. Finding true solitude. The text makes a really sharp distinction here. We are not talking about loneliness. True solitude is the birthplace of creativity and resilience. It's all about learning to actually enjoy your own company and not needing constant external validation to feel good about yourself. It's about discovering a deep, quiet confidence from within simply by not being terrified of silence.
I really want to speak directly to you on this next point. When you break a promise to yourself, you lose self-respect. It's that simple. But keeping your promises, actually following through, even in the smallest, most seemingly insignificant ways, that builds profound inner strength. You start to truly, genuinely believe in yourself. And as the source wisely points out, the relationship you have with yourself, that sets the tone for literally every single other relationship you will ever have in your life.
Finally, section 5, the compound effect of now, the power of early habits.
Just listen to this quote. The investment you make in yourself now compounds into a life others only admire. The absolute beauty of this is that you do not need to be perfect to start. You don't need to have your entire life mapped out right this second. But by building these habits bit by bit, day by day, you are setting yourself up for a future that most people only ever dream about. You're ensuring that you won't be carrying that heavy weight of regret down the line.
So we're going to leave you with this final, provocative question straight from the text to close out our explainer today. Your future self is waiting. What will you start today? Honestly, you have far more power right now than you think. Start small, start scared if you have to, but just start. Thanks for joining us and keep building that foundation.